In today's media landscape, transparency is the new table stakes. Spectrum Reach provides transparent, network-level reporting, allowing marketers to accurately measure and optimize for superior campaign results. Their solutions find captive audiences across premium TV and digital inventory. That's inventory seen by real people and held to the highest brand safety measures. Move beyond eyeballs to true engagement in a brand-safe way. Go to spectrumreach.com/adage.
Hello, this is Jack Neff, editor-at-large of Ad Age, and welcome to our latest edition of the Marketer's Brief podcast, our weekly discussion about marketing news and trends. Athena Kazvikis came to iRobot and its Roomba brand as CMO as the company tries to engineer a turnaround brought on by low-cost competition. That's somewhat ironic given that regulators nixed Amazon's acquisition of the company back in 2024 on the belief that the deal would give Amazon too much power in the connected home space. Here, she talks about how she's looking to turn things around, how much tailwind iRobot and Roomba get from Elon Musk-fueled interest in robots, and how she got her startup brand Behave Bras funded on Shark Tank in record time. Kazvikis also talks about why CTV is the media sweet spot for brands like hers, her approach to agency relations, and the role that AI has for iRobot. Tell me about where things stand with iRobot right now. It sounds like it's a bit of a turnaround story. How would you say things are going?
Things are going great. What's really exciting about where we are in iRobot, not just in the US, but globally, we have recently launched this year a whole new line of robots that are smarter, that are more multifunctional, that do a much better job of, I think, our original intent, which was to be the absolute most amazing thing that cleans your floors. I mean, we started the category. We are the category. So we're in a really interesting growth phase right now, both from a product perspective, but also from a marketing perspective. So it's all upside for iRobot and specifically our heritage most loved brand, which is Roomba.
Tell me about your background and what brought you to iRobot.
Well, I mean, I was born and raised, so to speak, Jack, in CPG. So consumer product goods. Started my career at an extremely young age at Procter and Gamble, working on billion-dollar brands, iconic billion-dollar brands, and learning from still some arguably the best minds in the business on consumer behavior and how to just be a phenomenal brand marketer. So what brought me here was a little bit of an interesting story where I had decided to look around. I missed the space. I missed consumer products. I missed running big brands. And iRobot reached out, and initially it didn't sound like a good fit for someone like me. I think because of consumer tech products tend to sometimes market a little bit differently and think about consumers a little bit differently than CPG do. But what really sold me in on iRobot was Gary Cohen. They had brought in a true CPG-minded CEO who had a vision for the company and really wanted help in sort of tacking towards consumer understanding and consumer-led marketing. And that honestly was the most exciting opportunity that I had looked at. That challenge of that was so exciting. So he and his vision really brought me in and made this feel like a perfect fit for me.
Now, in between P&G and iRobot, you also had some experience in an entrepreneurial company, and you were on Shark Tank even. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, I got presented with a once in a lifetime opportunity. I had started my own brand, had taken all my years of experience, started my own brand, and essentially started from scratch. So started at ABM level again, Jack, where you have to now go from being a CMO, VP of marketing to pushing the buttons again. So it made me a better marketer. It made me a better business person. It really brought in kind of all my experience full circle. And then I just learned a ton of new things. So when you start your own business and you're truly a solo entrepreneur, you go back to your maybe business school days, maybe college days, and you're doing cash flow analysis and you're doing accounting and figuring out sales tax, as well as understanding your consumers and trying to create marketing for them. I got a phone call that was a bit of a fluke, Jack. I didn't believe it. It was during COVID. I didn't believe that the person that left me this voice message was actually a recruiter from Shark Tank. And I just happened to listen to the voicemail and call her back on a whim. I thought it was a consumer type thing for Behave, the brand I started. And turns out after about an hour of helping her size herself for some more well-fitting undergarments, turns out she was actually from Shark Tank and decided that I would be a perfect candidate for that show. So I took that opportunity with both hands, and put everything I had into having the best outcome that I was looking for achieved. And I did actually, Jack, just so you know, I was able to obtain the fastest deal ever given on Shark Tank for my pitch and my business plan. So 10 minutes, fastest deal they've ever done on the show. I thought it was a joke, but it was actually all true.
That's pretty good. And yeah, I watched, and you definitely got it done. I think the clip I was looking at was 8 minutes. So
Yeah, we were worried they wouldn't air it because there wasn't really much to edit because of how short it was. So I was actually deathly concerned that it wouldn't air because they wouldn't be able to edit in enough drama. But reality was there was no drama. I prepared, Jack, for World War III. I mean, I prepared for 6 months for that show and really wanted to make sure that I had every single scenario thought through, locked up, and I was able to kind of show up as myself and my natural kind of personality and business sense and not be concerned about prep and just be concerned about the moment. But yeah, I prepared for World War III and it was cupcakes and sleepovers. So it was great.
does that actual exercise think help you as a marketer, just getting prepared to succinctly make an elevator pitch, essentially?
Oh, absolutely. It's sort of, I would call it the highest order of marketing, right? Because you're in a very high pressure situation and you have thousands of distinct audiences, one of which is the sharks that are in the room. It's all live. You don't ever see them or meet them before you walk out those doors. So that is a high pressure situation. But then you have a very different kind of audience, which is the TV audience. And those are really your consumers, and they have different wants and needs than the sharks maybe do in the room. And so I think the preparation was next level. I actually hired a human behaviorist that helped me work through how to achieve my goals and best present myself in my most authentic way possible so that I could make sure, again, I was most comfortable presenting as myself, but also I would get my goals achieved, my message across, and do justice to the brand that I had created. I put a lot of time and effort into that. It looked easy, but that was 6 months of preparation that paid out in real time live in 10 minutes, which I'm very, very proud of.
Tell me about your new campaign for iRobot, the strategy behind it, and how it's working.
Yeah, our new campaign for iRobot this year is a really interesting one about made for this. So that's sort of the big idea behind it. Our spot that we were able to produce and that's been airing this year and that will continue to air is called Kipocalypse. And it's really about taking, again, some of these CPG best in class marketing learnings. You know, I'm not the only CMO that's ever been at iRobot. There have been some brilliant people that have come before me that have really set a good basis for this. But we really wanted to go back and really look at iRobot is truly made for this specific thing, which is cleaning your floors, vacuuming your floors, mopping your floors. It is almost like in a world of technology that does everything you want it to, probably, and a lot of things you don't, right? Alexa interrupted me in the shower the other day to tell me to add something to my shopping list, which was a bit horrifying considering I hadn't asked her to do anything. I think iRobot and Roomba in particular is made for this specific situation, this specific chore. It's made to make your life better. And so it was really a celebration of the benefits of the product and a torture test to really demonstrate to consumers this is what we do and this is what we do best. We started this category and we continue to innovate in it and lead this category forward. So it's an exciting campaign. You know, we're already looking at building off of it for next year and have some really great plans in the work with our agencies.
You opted to go with streaming with CTV, I believe, for your media primarily. Why did you do that, and how is it working?
I'm a huge fan of all types of media. You know, back when I started my career, I won't tell you the brand, but I'll tell you I've worked on brands where this is not a joke. My media budget was $100 million, Jack. So the only game in town was linear TV and then everything else that you would build. I think as we move into current times, CTV is beautiful for a brand like Roomba, where we may not have that $100 million budget, but we sure do have the ability to build out a more holistic experience where consumers are today, right? So it's gotten even worse in the past 20 years. Consumers are on their phones while they watch TV and listen to music and have 100 other things going on. It's only gotten more fragmented. And I think what CTV does is it gives you the reach of a lot of linear TV, but with a much with an ability to target into your consumers, I think a lot better. I think it's a lot better for non-linear TV budget sizes while still having a huge impact. And I think it allows you to really dial in against the strategic priorities that you have for your marketing plans and your full funnel a little bit better sometimes than linear TV you're able to do with that.
How much can you target by identity or perhaps based on shopping data from Amazon or elsewhere?
Yeah, so much more than you are able to with linear. It's one of the things that we're constantly looking at, which is optimizing our funnel and taking a full funnel approach all the way from awareness down into consideration. What I love about CTV and some of the buys that we're able to do is the kind of full 1P tracking from ad and frequency down all the way down through consideration into conversion, especially ahead of some of these major tentpole events and big shopping buying seasons. So it's given me and it's given the company a bit of a superpower. And it's given us a lot more data-rich consumer targeting environments where we can really watch the path to purchase happen, not just assume the path to purchase happen 6 months later when we're doing MMM. So I very much am a huge fan of CTV right now.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about agencies and iRobot's place in the personal robotics market.
In advertising, not all data is created equal. Spectrum Reach's advertising solutions harness unrivaled first-party data to reach marketers' best potential customers across screens and platforms, both in the Spectrum Reach footprint and beyond. Spectrum Reach provides addressable match rates at 95%, while the industry benchmark is 60%. Accurate, high-fidelity data leads to greater ROI. Go to spectrumreach.com/adage today.
Tell me about what agencies you work with and why you selected them.
Oh my gosh. Well, I inherited a lot of agencies at this brand when I started. I tend to like to work in place with current agencies if I've come onto a brand, just to make sure I understand the relationship and the talent. Agencies, for me, how I was raised and what I believe is that they're not vendors, they're really partners. And so you need to invest behind partnerships. My preference is always to work with local New England agencies where we can, but we have some long-term agencies at this brand, like our packaging agency, where it's really, what I was able to learn when I came on and what I always look for is the quality of the team. It's not just about the agency. I think when I look at agencies, it's what level of team are we able to have access to for the brands we work on and what level of thinking. And I think we have a couple agencies at this brand where we have the best of the best minds at those agencies strategically and creatively involved on our work. And so a lot of them I've chosen to continue on with while still bringing in new agency talent because we're always looking for small but creative and accessible agencies, and new capability buildings and efficiencies are something we're focused on, now that we've settled in really for next year. How are we building more capabilities within our tech stack and how are we building more capabilities within creative and marketing?
There's a lot of interest right now in personal robots, some of it fueled by Elon Musk, but certainly by others. How much opportunity is there for iRobot because of that interest?
We've been around for 35 years doing robotics. I think what the company has seen and what I've seen is that where there's a need, there will always be interest for robotics. What I think is there's a huge opportunity, even as we look forward from iRobot and Roomba, is how can we truly make consumers' lives better with robotics? Not just how can we produce cooler, more interesting new tech. It's really about meeting consumers' needs. Again, this is where you'll see my CPG come through. I'm pretty passionate about let's do what's right for the consumer. And I think this company is really great at thinking about what are some of the things that consumers desperately want robotics for? Why do they want robots? We talk about it at Roomba as truly it's the thing that allows you to get the results you want and not have to do maybe the thing you hate, which is scrubbing your floors by hand, right? No one's got that kind of time to clean. So we think about it a little bit differently than just a personal robot, which is a benefit-driven robot. How can it do the jobs that I may not want to do myself, that I may not have time to do myself? And I think anything that hits against that, which ultimately makes consumers' lives better, easier, more efficient, is really where we're focused as a company. And I think that's the best part of maybe the more recent groundswell that Elon has kind of brought attention to the space is behind that. So we're excited about the attention. I think we're really focused on doing it in the right way so that we're actually delivering a tangible benefit to consumers and not just cool new tech.
This is a question, a historical question, really, just kind of out of left field, but I've always wondered. iRobot, the company, was founded in 1990. iRobot, the movie, came out in 2004. Did they just happen to like kind of filch the name from iRobot, or was it a really brilliant brand placement at the time?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was brilliant. I believe that movie with Will Smith is about robots having an evil plot of taking over humanity.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely don't think that was something that iRobot, back when we were founded and even since then has ever aspired to do. So no, I think that's a funny question and I love it, but pretty sure that that was just a draft and win non on purpose name. Michelle will tell you, our PR head, that all PR can be good PR. So I don't know if it did us any harm, but I can tell you we were not the impetus for robots taking over the world, I hope.
And there is no actual danger of a Roomba going rogue and trying to take over your household or anything like that.
No, sir. I mean, I wish it would go rogue and do my laundry and do the dishes as well, but it's not there yet.
It does lead to a question about brand recognition. And to my knowledge, iRobot and Roomba are really the only brands in the space that have much recognition with consumers. I was wondering, even after having, lost some share in years past, is the power of that brand something that you think will help you to turn things around?
Absolutely. It's funny. One of the most exciting things about working at iRobot, but even more specifically Roomba, is the power of the brand. This is, we used to talk about this a lot at Procter and Gamble and subsequent brands I've run, but the utopia for brand marketing is running a love brand, a brand that consumers have an emotional connection to in and above the product performance and the opportunity to work with an iconic brand like Roomba that is truly synonymous with the category. We started it. Anything robotic that is doing a service for consumers tends to be referred to as a Roomba type product. And I think that's exciting. It's also, something to always make sure we're aware of is what makes our branding and our marketing also uniquely ownable when you do run a brand that is synonymous with an entire category and maybe even beyond that. So it's something we're constantly paying attention to, but I mean, I would rather work on a love brand like Roomba than a non-love brand would be my answer. Is there opportunity to take this, Jack, and turn this into, putting more fuel on that fire? Absolutely. And we're already using Roomba to do that, but we'll continue to do that next year because I think it's exciting and it plays a role. And I think people still love Roomba despite maybe some of our recent challenges in years past. And they will continue to love us if we continue to love them back and build on that. So, yes, it's in our plans today. It will be in our plans tomorrow. It will be in our plans for next year. And we'll continue to amplify that part.
I know there were some efforts in years past to go into other areas or adjacent categories like lawnmowers and educational robots that got scaled back.
Mhm.
Do you think I mean, you are now pretty clearly focused on cleaning, but do you think there's still potential to move into other areas, or is it more important just to focus on excelling where you are right now?
Yes and yes would be my answer. When you think about the mission of Roomba and iRobot, it's really about creating technology that makes consumers' lives meaningfully better. And that is a broad mandate in some ways because it's not just your floors and really removing the emotional and physical tasks at hand there, which we're doing. It's other things, I'm sure, in and outside of the house that consumers would really appreciate and have need for robotics, right? So I think it gives us a very broad mandate. I cannot speak about the exciting things that we have coming up in these areas. What I will tell you is we have the smartest and best engineers at this company. We have the smartest and best brand and marketing and product development people here that are actively thinking and working on more exciting opportunities even than where we are today, while not forgetting that we built this category, we will continue to lead the category, and we have world domination plans globally. So it's a yes and yes,
It's
Jack.
a good place to be.
Yeah.
I know the Amazon acquisition, the attempted acquisition, was before your time, and so not something that you dealt with. But the reason it got deep sixed by the regulators was basically part of it was the idea that it would give Amazon just too much power in the connected home of the future, I think. Positively, could you look at that as a testament to the brand's potential? Is there room to get more deeply involved in the connected home space?
Absolutely. My answer to that is hell yes. I think that's where ultimately all of robotics is going. I think, that was before my time, but I think a lot about, again, what's valuable to consumers. I look at value, Jack, as not just physical product benefits, but it's physical product benefits plus emotional product benefits and brand benefits divided by price, right? That's my definition of value for consumers. And as we think about it in that way, connected home really is a physical and emotional value add for consumers in a lot of different ways. It's something we're interested in always. And again, can't say too much, but absolutely something that I think for this kind of a company gives us unlimited upside potential.
I can't let you get away without an AI question, and certainly it's relevant when your business is iRobot. How is AI affecting iRobot and its performance and its future?
Well, it's funny. It's affecting everything right now, and I think it's one of the most exciting tools for marketers and for a company like ours where we're developing products. But what it does for our current line of robots and our upcoming lines of robots is it makes them smarter. It gives us more capability to do a better job. So we have AI cameras on a lot of our new robots, and we'll have them continuing forward. That helps us to identify, some of the non-sexy things we talk about, but debris, and it helps us to identify things on the floor and really make a smarter robot that's better at cleaning. But internally, I think it's a capability builder if you use it correctly. I think it's a buzzword right now for a lot of people, but when you really think about what AI can deliver, it's the assist to humans, similar to a Roomba. It's the assist to humans. So it's not going to replace you ever in my book, but what it's going to do is it's going to build that efficiency and capability. So we are integrating AI into all parts of the company with that mindset involved. This isn't about, we're not replacing our creatives with AI. That would be a horrible idea. But can we build some capabilities to do better and more interesting content with an assist? I'm sure we can. So we look at it just about everywhere you could look at our company. We've started to integrate AI, and then it's definitely been integrated on our robots for a while now. That makes them smarter, better. And as it progresses, I think you're going to see technological leaps in both sides of the business, which is kind of exciting.
Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much for joining us. This has been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate the opportunity.
That was Athena Kazvikis, CMO of iRobot, and I'm Jack Neff, editor-at-large of Ad Age. I'd like to thank our producer, Lauren Ciardio, and invite you to subscribe to the Marketer's Brief podcast on your favorite player.
Marketer's Brief listeners get $40 off an adage.com subscription. Sharpen your marketing edge and visit adage.com/brief for your discount.